I'll say the lesson, this portion of the chapter helps me most to understand what's going on in the society. And I hope you find this very, very, very helpful for what we see, what happened to our society. Okay. Before we get here, redemption. So remember those 4 questions, 4 basic worldview questions. What's number 1? Alex?
Wait, the 4 basic
worldview questions.
Wait, let me see.
The first one.
Creation.
Yes. Okay. Emmanuel, number 2.
The fall. What has gone wrong with the world?
Okay. Eileen, number 3.
But I think it was restore what?
Right here on the screen.
Redemption.
Yes. Okay.
How we could fix the world.
And number 4, which one? Rita, the 4th one.
Restoration. How now should we live?
Yeah, very good. So you see, we are halfway done. We go into the 3rd one, redemption. Okay. Real redemption. The need for salvation has been imprinted on human souls since the first couple went astray in the garden. So I think this is the common desire of man. We all sense something wrong, right? And then we'll try to find a way to fix it. So in the past, people try to get religions, right? The Buddhism, Nirvana. Okay, so the Judaism, the atonement of good works, Islam, heaven after purchase work across the soul of judgment. So you can see why there's so many religions. People try to find a way to fix a problem, to explain how we can be right. So any belief system in the marketplace of ideas, any movement that attracts followers, anything that has the power to grab people's heart and win their allegiance, does so because it taps into their deepest longings. And those longings are ultimate religious. So not just have a brain, so, oh, this is a Buddhism, this is a Muslim, this is a religion. No, every belief system, okay? This is very important concept. We didn't think about that. And then the book talk about materialism and commercialism. And since those deepest needs are religious, what else really trade on is the universal longing for redemption. Isn't it interesting? So on the spiritual sequence, we have sin, then we have guilt, and then we need redemption. But in the psychological sequence, we have problem, anxiety, resolution. You see that? Psychology replaced the spiritual. We talked about that, I think, 2 lectures ago, right? So in this book, Ad Count USA, it talk about before, when the advertising company tried to put the ad, actually they asked for pastors input. Isn't that interesting? We pastors can have a side job to work for the advertising company, because basically every advertisement is like a spiritual is want to solve a problem. So in the book said, the power and rule of religion and advertising is the same. We will be rescued. Just think about everything, right? Some advertisement, especially you want to lose your weight, you say, before and after, and what's the middle one is the product you're going to sell. It's just similar like our testimony, right? Before I was sinner, after we met Jesus Christ, then I'm saved, right? So it is very similar. So here we just need to know, not just a brand said, oh, this is religions, every ideas. And I think that we often didn't think about that. So when you think about, when you read any like psychology, you read any philosophy, they are the religion also, all right? Now, how do you read chapter 24? This girl, she went to college and it was taught to feminism and then everything. I think they said, I got tired of being a victim. I used to read feminist books by the armed bold. Then one day it hit me. All those books were the same. Every problem a woman might have was explained by saying that someone somewhere had done for her wrong. If women were weak, passive creatures, it was pathetic. Huh. It was in 1960s. So nothing new, right? Now it's just more intense. So she said, I'm tired of being a victim. So what is the human dilemma and the source of suffering and injustice? What is the solution, the way to justice and peace? Everybody sees the problem, okay? But how do you diagnose it? Going to make you have different way to fix it. So again, this is two competing worldview to try to explain the reality and try to fix it. Since I think early 19th century, the people thinking started to want to get rid of God, right? Remember we talked about all this. So that's a myth of progress, or the escalator myth. Okay, this idea is a secularization of the Christian teaching of divine providence. History is moving forward to a glorious consummation. So this is just idea of evolution. So it's evolving. So human beings always going better, right? Past is worse, is bad. Newer is always better. But the problem is that this idea denies sin, and ideal inevitable progress equal the great utopian movement. All right. This is we talk about this utopia because that's Gabriel sin. No idea, no sin involved, just the way how we can make it better. And Hegel is the one. Okay, before Hegel, that's ideas that's a static rate of life, a serious stage through which the world passed during the course of history. So life is pretty steady, right? But he changed that, a dynamic series of steps. Everything moved from one run to the next in the endless progress to a perfection. Wow, just like an escalator, it's going up, and it's going to be better. Everything was seen as a subject to evolution, not just a living thing, but also custom, culture, and concepts. Wow, you see that? All right, not just on our biology side, is everything. Again, ideas have what? Consequence. Yeah. So from Hegel comes Marx. He's the best disciple of Hegel. Wow, everything, right? We talk about Darwin. He also follows someone's idea. So you see, the idea is so powerful. A prime example of the escalator myth, an effort by the modern mind to secularize the kingdom of God, to create a purely human heaven here on earth. Okay, so Marx took his idea and then put it into practice. And now we are replaying that Marxism, but same plot, new cast. All right, let me ask you. In Marxism, who is oppressed in the classical, the old class Marxism, who was the oppressor? Who was oppressor? And who were oppressed? Anybody know? Who oppressed who during the Marx time? Huh?
The rich people, the higher.
The rich people oppress poor people?
Yeah.
Yeah, in some way, yes, but not okay. You see that? The capitalists, right? Rich people and the oppressed urban factory workers. Okay, in a way, he saw this because industrial revolution, right? So many people going to work in the factory and he doesn't see the problem, okay? But just like he tried to fix the problem by creating this conflict theory. And interesting now with neo-Marxism applied it, the same thing. Women, blacks, LGBTQ plus are oppressed. Who are the oppressors? White, male, heterosexual. I added myself, church. Oh, actually it is now, right? So you see, for those of you from China, actually, you should know this. Although I grew up in Taiwan, but when I was military, I was trained to explain something like this to the fellow soldiers, to tell them how terrible the communism is. All right. So ironically, now I'm doing these similar things. So in China, back then, the Cultural Revolution, right? The 黑五类, right? If you label a certain type of people, then you're going to be whatever you're born with that, then you're a problem. All right. And this theory, it just labeled that it's born with that. You cannot change. Okay. If you are the woman, you're the black, you're LGBTQ, you're oppressed. And if you're born with white, male, heterosexual, you oppress those other than you. All right. So and now we all heard about this CRT, right? Critical race theory. And that is developed upon that. Okay. Because the earliest communists failed, and that's during the 1980s, a group of professors in Harvard that developed this. And that's that the CRT recognized that racial is ingrained in the fabric and system of the American society. The individual races need not exist to note that institutional racism is pervasive in the dominant culture. Okay, this is the analytic lens that CRT used to examine existing power structure. So you see that the default that this racism is based on white privilege and white supremacy, and it's penetrated everywhere. They use the lens to see our society, right? And I got this book called Fault Line from Rowley. He said, the social science of critical is geared toward identify and exploring the problem in order to facilitate revolutionary idea. Okay, I think we can always see the problem in the society. Everybody can find the problem, but the problem is that how do you use the problem? One way you see the problem, you're going to improve that, you're going to reform that, make it better. But on the critical race theory or communism, when they see the problem, they're going to see you got to wipe it all out, and the need is revolution. You see that? Okay, it's not like, oh, people don't agree with a communism, that's just say, oh, no problem. No, we all see the problem, but just how you see is a problem later on we'll talk about by biblical view is how can you solve the problem. But this basic CRT and all this new idea currently in our system is we are so bad, we require a total revolution, right? And the way to do it is get rid of the old one, but usually you don't know how to build the new one, okay? And why it's so popular? Because it's been widespread taught in college campus. Probably some of you took this class also, right? The Marxism, I just pick up from the book. I can see maybe now even more, all right? So because students are being taught to apply Marxism to law, politics, education, family studies, and many other fields. See that? But we need to realize the religion side of Marxism. The Garden of Eden, the state of primitive communism, right? You also have ideal society, right? Communism is, they think about this idea that everybody can be fat, right? Everybody, nobody's going to be hungry, right? Everybody share what they have. It's just like Garden of Eden, right? Then what's the sin? The original sin, the creation of private property and division of labor. Okay, isn't that interesting? So because everybody should share everything, right? So nobody should have the private property. So that is a sin. That's why capitalism is a problem, right? Because for the capitalism, you need to have your own private property, okay? All right. The redemption, destroying the private ownership of the means of production. Gabriel destroyed the current one, and then the Redeemer is a labor worker, is the one who brings the kingdom of heaven to earth. But the problem is they don't know how you do that, right? And the day of judgment is a day of revolution. Isn't it interesting? You see that revolution, but from the history, every time we see after the revolution, problem is become worse because there's no real solution to it. We all see a problem and they just wipe it out, but how are you going to fix, right? Or even they sincerely want to fix, but it's not a human reality. So Marxism is a secularized vision of the kingdom of God. It is a kingdom of man. Marxism promised to solve the human dilemma and to create the new man living in an ideal society. Sounds very, very good because it's a religion, okay? Countless Marxist-inspired revolutions have failed. So why is the Marxism still so popular? Precisely because Marxism aimed at an essential religious need, tapping into humanity's hunger for redemption. And again, where's the other book? I saw another book and they do say why the young people, they, here. Can you see this book? Why you should be a socialist, okay? And that exact thing, they said, this time they're going to make it right, okay? They think this time they're going to make it right. Again, good intention, all right? But it's may fail, right? Apply Marxism in any country you want, you will always find a gulag in the end. Wow. But I think it's hard to swallow that because people buy into it, the passion into it, and you thought this way it's going to solve a problem. And yeah, I really admire those people who have passion, right? Especially when you read the Chinese history of Mao Zedong, a lot of this, they are not really I would say a lot of this, they really want to solve the problem of society. It's not looking that they want to be rich, they want to be for their own gain. But unfortunately, the idea of this wrong idea causing the wrong problem, right? So the conclusion that Marxism worldview is a fatally flawed, it does not match up the reality. And Marx himself admit as much in acknowledge that his philosophy contradicts everything in practical life. Marx is a living example of the Apostle Paul's description of believers. They know the truth and still they suppress it. So hope you get to read the book yourself. I just find that it's so enlightened to me. I would say, okay, to see how do you answer all the problem we're seeing today. It just doesn't match up with reality, right? And that's Marx's own poem here that said, I will wander godlike and victorious through the ruins of the world, again, giving my words an active force. I will feel equal to the Creator. Isn't like Lucifer? We saw it, we read it in the book of Isaiah, we read in the book of Ezekiel. See, we want to be like God because you don't want to bow down to God, so you want to be on God, create heaven on earth. And okay, that's chapter 24. 25 is a more interesting, the salvation through sex. Wow, I never know such idea. And it started from Margaret Singer. Can someone read this for me? I need to answer this text. So, Caleb, then can you read it for me?
Sure. Margaret Sanger, who is generally remembered as an early champion of birth control, adamantly opposed the moralists who preached abstinence, self-denial, and suppression, and described Christian ethics as the cruel morality of self-denial and sin. She hoped to replace it with her own morality of sexual liberation, promising that the release of sexual energies was the only method by which a person could find inner peace and security and beauty.
Okay, thank you. So again, you see that they try to use sex to find a salvation. Of course, who's the enemy? Christian ethic, because Christian ethics say, don't really do this. You can only have sex within marriage. All right. So let's see. Morality is the root of all evil, and free sexual expression is a path to redemption. See, this word is all like a religion, right? No woman can call herself free who does not own and control her body. And this is the idea, very popular concept and idea now, right? So sexuality is a source of ultimate meaning and healing, a means of redemption. Redemption, you see that? We thought only Bible talk about that. No, everybody want that. And you see this, how they played out in a society, how the new generation is redefining the meaning of gender, right? So this 2017 beyond he or she. Before it's just like you can have, they don't want to just be confined to sex only for men and women. Said, no, I mean, we want to have sex anyway, whatever we like. Okay, now you're gonna have more, and that's still not enough. Then you're gonna have more freedom. We're gonna have whatever we want to be, male or female or whatever, because we just want to be free, whatever God put in us. Okay, we don't want that. I have a great box that I have made for myself. So we should know by all these terms. Probably only parents don't know. So what is sex? What's gender? Can someone explain our current definition? Okay, in the culture, what is sex? In Emmanuel, is what is sex?
So sex, what kind of definition do you want me to give? I'm just curious.
In the current society, the definition of what gender in our society.
Oh, so
Yeah.
it's a physical act between two.
No.
individuals.
No, I'm not calling talk about action. Just like, okay, maybe sex is like male you're born with, okay, all right. So if you have biology organs or this.
Oh,
male,
gender,
then
gender.
sex. Okay, then what's the meaning of gender? What's the meaning of gender?
I'm actually not sure how they define gender nowadays because I haven't done.
Okay, maybe it's too young. Oh, no. Gender, I didn't put English here. Okay, gender is a socially construct. Okay, so one thing that used to be the same, sex and gender the same, right? Male, female. But now in the society, we call sex is that even now they don't want to define it when they're born with they said, oh, we still don't want to decide. But in general, sex is the one that you're born with, okay? You have this male, female, okay? But gender is that you can decide, all right? So that's usually the idea, okay? So this is the gender LGBTQ. Now you should know what's L,
Lesbian.
what's G,
A.
what's B,
Bisexual.
what's T,
Transgender.
what's Q,
None of them.
what's Q?
Queer, I think.
Yeah, okay,
Wow.
okay. And then you have a plus, means even more beyond our imagination, okay? So, and you know, on the Facebook gender optional list, how many?
Facebook.
How many you can choose from? You want to guess? Besides male and female? Anybody knows? You can have 58 types.
Wow.
Wow. Who can figure out all this? Okay. So probably even more. You want to create one use for yourself. All right. So this is our society. And then again, you can where this idea from, right? Where this idea from? This gender spectrum. 1/3 of the young Americans see themselves somewhere between this. Okay, usually it's male and female. Now it could be anything in between. Okay, so Kinsey, all right. Remember last time I talked about it. If you hear any idea, you're gonna ask who said that, and then based on what theory, right? And then what does Bible say? So where all this idea of the spectrum from is from Kinsey. He's the father of sexual revolutions. You see, during the 1953 and 1948, he wrote this book and he studied, he became a research center. Many people studied under him at university. I think it's Indiana, right? So that's why education, college campus so important. All these ideas all first developed in the college campus. And then back then you just say, oh, you're crazy, you're just interested in study this. And then they'll become a part of our culture. Mm-hmm. And so, okay. So again, he has 6 type, okay? Skills, behavior. Basically, you can mix all this, all right? In between this. And, but again, you see, Kingsley was a devoted Darwinist who believed that since human evolved from animal, there are no significant difference between them. See, evolution is in everywhere. So what's the result? This is this year's data. 1 in 6 Gen Z adult identify something other than heterosexual. So nearly 60% And this is 18 to 23 years old, right? Not, I'm talking about under 18. So it's 16%. Wow. But within that 6%, 72% thought they are bisexual. So it means that lesbian, gay is not popular now, right? And just see this from 1.3, 2.0, 3.8, 9.1, 15.9. And remember, we used to just been taught, oh, that's about 2%, 3% LGBTQ. We just should leave it alone. They don't do whatever they want, right? But you see now, change now, 16% now, especially on a young generation. All right, because it's not born with, it's really been taught, been influenced. Where they got influence? School, education as a social engineering. Probably some of you learned this already, right? And this is New York City Department of Education. One of my Christian sisters, she worked there, and then she showed me all these ideas, and then she said they have a workshop. That all the staff need to be there, really just like a religious talk. So they have a speaker come to say, oh, we need to support LGBTQ. And then they have a small group, their breakout room. Everybody got to share how they're going to endorse this, support this. And then after that, one by one need to go on the stage to talk about that. And she was so panicked. She hid it in the bathroom. And they know she quit. All right. So this is a problem in, of course, now the DOE set this tone, entire school, you got to follow up this. And that's just the gender unicorn. Remember King's spectrum? They taught this, make it very cute. So tell the student, young kids, all these ideas. No wonder you're going to have a 16%. I think it's going to increase more, all right? Because you have instead of ABC, you have gay BC. And this textbook is using all these are some parents shared it to me, all right? In Seattle school, there's a maiden and princess, all right? K, 5 years old, okay. They need to read this type of book. And I don't know any one of you, or I hope it's not. This is a high school book. One of my youth told me about this. She need to read this book, write a report, and she said she just cannot read that, right? I don't want to even read those. Okay, that's the thing they learn in the school. And recently come out on this is especially on girls, right? Who know this? Elliot Page, right? Who know what's her origin? Oh, what's any young people know who she was?
She was originally a girl, and then she went transgender.
What's her name?
It was an L or something. Forgot.
Yeah, Ellen Page, right? And so you see the culture. And this book called in Reversible Damage, the transgender craze seduce our daughters. She's not a Christian. She's a reporter of Wall Street Journal, I think, and she's writing this to warn people. There's this gender dysphoria, right? That now has all this problem, okay? That you don't know what's your male or female. And interestingly, she said before 2012, in fact, there was no scientific literature on girls age 11 to 21 ever have developed gender dysphoria at all. It's an interesting, before 2012, we have no paper writing about this. And now it's everywhere. And she's talking about for many girls to become a transgender is what? It's actually, it's also like religions, redemption. You want to find, because you're so anxiety, filled with so much anxiety, you want to set free. And by become a transgender, you belong to something new, right? And she said that the adolescent girls today are in a lot of pain. And just look at this problem, right? It's very informative to me. This is a mental health crisis. And the worst is, you see that rate of self-harm are up 189% since 2010. Maybe some of you know someone. And parents, you're here, actually, I've been taught by many parents that their girls, especially, has experienced to harm themselves. And this is really, we need to be aware of all these serious problems in our society for our young people, especially girls. And you see all this idea, all right? And let's just pick up this, who knows this guy? Girl, Martina. She is the very famous tennis player, right?
Yeah, wasn't she like one like the best tennis player before like one of the most like titles or whatever before like Serena Williams passed?
You like tennis, Alex?
No.
Oh, you know, okay. But it thinks she, and then she was very active in lesbian. Okay, she's lesbian. Okay, but the only the thing she say the transgender athlete in women's sport is insane, is cheating, and then she got canceled. Okay, so now the culture has a trend. LGBT is more important than LGBT now. So you see that, and she need to apologize. And all other company, they cancel their endorsement on her. So that's our society now. And this is a good conclusion here that Albert Moore said, transgenderism rise checked the bounds. It offers a life veil in truth and happiness. It will only end in more brokenness and pain, devastation and destructions. I know this could be controversial in our society. They say that because of church, because Christian, so many transgender people commit suicides. Okay, because we say no, and then cause their problem. All right, but the reality is that transgenderism write check the bounds. You could not. They hide the data. Many people, they do the change the gender. They do all this operation. They're still going to find happiness, okay? Because it's just not the God design. All right. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. One test of whether a worldview is true is whether it corresponds to reality. Can we live with it? Yeah. We like to say everything you can go, you do whatever you like. We wish you luck. But the problem is that we cannot. That's not reality. Because that's a creator, create us in a certain way. And only we can live by the creator's design, then we can live happily. So that's the problem. All right. Now the real issues. Okay, we quickly go to what Christians talk about. Christianity begins with an accurate diagnosis of human dilemma. We all sin, everybody. For all sin and fall short of the glory of God. And we know all sins because the death of sin, the wage of sin is what? The wage of sin is what?
Death.
Death. And you see everybody going to die. They prove we are sinners, right? Steve Jobs, so rich, he died already. Many poor people died. PhD people going to die. They prove we are sinners. So the only really the real problem is we sinned against God, and that's prove that. So the basic problem is a moral one. Our guilt before a holy God. When we say sin, you always know sin against whom, okay? When we say sin, it's not that I sin against you, Alex. No, we sin against God. Christianity provides the only answer to the problem of sin. We cannot save ourselves, only by grace, right? And Eileen, can you read this verse?
Romans 3:24, and are justified by his grace as a gift through the redemption that is in Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Christ Jesus. Whoops.
Okay. So it's by far the intellectual answer transform our lives. We are not just answer this question within the church. We have an answer for everybody. This Bible's answers for everybody. Okay. Number 3, Christians offer a salvation based on historical truth. Right. So oh, Jennifer is there. Can you read this for us, Jennifer?
1 Corinthians 15:3. For I delivered to you as of first importance what I also received, that Christ died for our sins in accordance with this scripture, that he was buried, that he was raised on the third day in accordance with the scriptures, and that he appeared to Cephas, then to the 12.
Okay, that's more, right? So our solution is not just an idea, right? It's a fact. It's a historical fact. Jesus needs to die for us and rose again, right? So God's redemption then does not change us into something different so much as it restores to the way we were originally created. Redemption, reconciliation, regeneration, brings restoration. Having been liberated from sin, we are empowered to help bring Christ's restoration to the entire creation order. Wow. So that's why without this redemption, we cannot really change the culture. We cannot the next part, the restoration, right? Because we cannot by our own human nature to do that. Only Christian, okay, let me have someone to read this. Who can read this? How about Alex? Can you read?
With me?
Yeah. Alex.
Okay. Only Christianity provides true redemption, a restoration to our created state, the hope of eternal peace with God. No other worldview identifies the real problem, the stain of our sin in our souls. No other worldview can set free a tormented soul like Bernard Nathanson, or like me and you, and having been liberated from sin, we are empowered to help bring Christ's restoration to the entire creation order.
Okay, thank you. All right, we know this verse well. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. So I'm going to end with this story. Probably you heard from this Christopher Yuan, right? It's a very powerful testimony. And actually in 2012, I host his entire family to come to New York to have the talk and to share the testimony. So that's in our church while we still meet in the hotel. I did a translation for him. if you don't know, you can Google on YouTube. It's amazing testimony. They were not a Christian family. He is going to be a dentist. The mother actually is on the way going to end her own life, and she became Christians. And then, but at the same time, also find out her beloved son was involved in a homosexual life, and they are also involved with drug. For many years, she cried, she prayed for her son, but no result. And so she prayed for 8 years. Okay, there's her prayer closet, right? And she just keep praying. Every time they visit her son, even the son doesn't want to see them. And the father gave him the Bible. He threw it into the garbage can, right? But one day, finally, her son called her. Why? Because she's in jail. And he got caught by FBI. And then all her friends, nobody's there to contact him anymore. And so he called mom. And the mom's so happy that God answered her prayer. But unfortunately, he also found out he has AIDS. Yeah. And then, but in the jail, he read the Bible. You know, the Gideon Bible. In the hotel, in the jail, they all have this Bible. And then he wanted to believe in God, but he also wanted to see is God, he can continue be a gay. And he researched through that, says, no way. He said, so he know he cannot be living a simple lifestyle and also be a Christian. So that's why he changed. But the change doesn't become a heterosexual. It become a homosexual. Okay, very interesting idea because he still already had lots of temptation there, but he decided not living that lifestyle anymore. So he wrote 2 books. The first one, Out of a Far Cry Country, he wrote it with her mom, right? And with the Chinese version. And then this new one, Holy Sexuality and the Gospel. I had the honor to write a foreword for his Chinese book. He asked me to write it for him. All right. So you have a Chinese version, you can see my writing there, and that's what I wrote. No Longer Me is a book talk about going home. Home is where we was born and grow. But because of sin, we are like sheep, go on straight. We walk our own way. So we live far more away from home, and so we don't want to go home. Especially we as a Chinese, we just don't pursue success. That because that so-called success, we sacrifice our family relationship. So cause many prodigal sons outside. But this author, Christopher Yuan, used their own testimony to show us a way home to God, Heavenly Father, through Jesus. After we go back to our Heavenly Father's home, God will also bring us to our earthly home. So we are sinners. But the good news, as long as we are willing to go home, we're going to find our Heavenly Father's home has all the yellow ribbon welcome us home. So no matter how far you are away from home, this book will give you the hope and strength to go home. Wow. So God provides a way for us to go home, no matter how far you're off. And okay. So this is the 2 questions. How should Christians respond to the vain aspirate option of our liberal contemporary, particularly on neo-Marxism and the sexual revolution? How can Christians do a better job of presenting the gospel to the society of our time?